Thanks for tuning in to Healthy Planet One, where we discuss healthy living from experts in each of their fields. This is your host, Patricia Starr.
And your co-host, Kimberly Knox. Today's guest on Healthy Planet One is Todd ERB, and we are going to be talking about emotional immunity with NES Health. So Todd, welcome. We're excited to have you. Todd is we call him a biohacking genius and a functional nutritional practitioner. He's also the in-house practitioner and trainer with NES Health, located in Tampa, in the science of bioenergetics. He worked with everything Western medicine had to offer, years of medical drugs and nerve blocks and physical therapy. He was bedridden for years until he found functional medicine and some holistic help. This is where he turned his efforts to, and finally coming to grips with his symptoms and identifying what the root causes were that landed him in bed. So this is what really catapulted him into this deep level of healing and to evolve as this dynamic biohacker that we all know him today as. So welcome, Todd.
Thank you very much, Kimberly. Such a warm welcome. Always nice to chat with you guys.
So let our listening audience know what is bioenergetics.
And what is emotional immunity? It's a big word.
Yeah, so let's start with bioenergetics. Bioenergetics is technically defined as the study of information and energy inside of biology and natural systems. So we really take a look at how different forms of energy and then how different forms of information actually regulate those forms of energy inside of the human body and even the body of pets. And we really study what is known as the human body field, which is another long word, but it's really talking about a little bit of quantum physics. We won't get too deep into that, but it's just talking about all the energetic fields that really relate to each and every particle that makes up a human being, or even the table and the computers that we're talking on now, all have these fields and these energetic fields that dictate how they behave on the plane of reality that we all exist in. So each one of us has one of those fields for our human body. And that's really what we look at with NES Health. We study that human body field, try to figure out how we can optimize it so that it can help to optimize our physical bodies. And of course, so that we can be, well and healthy. So that's really the goal of bioenergetics itself.
So our listeners probably have heard about acupuncture, and some may know a lot about traditional Chinese medicine. Are there similarities?
For sure, yeah. I mean, bioenergetics is really standing on the shoulders in the modern form that we experience it today, on the shoulders of traditional Chinese medicine and the Ayurvedic traditions, where they were over thousands of years observing these correlations and these mind-body connections and associations to emotions and physical ailments that people are dealing with, and over the years they cultivated a keen understanding of what we call the human body field, of course, looking at it from two different perspectives. Our co-founder at NES Health was actually a acupuncturist himself and a professor of acupuncture. He actually taught it. So when he dived into actually studying the human body field from a more technical perspective and a more physics perspective, he was quite happy when he found out that they got about 95% of it right in a traditional sense. So over those thousands of years, they really cultivated a body of knowledge that was very robust and was almost dead on. He found some changes, but they really did a lot of good work, and now we can just build upon that and utilize technology to enhance our ability to optimize our human body fields.
So your story is amazing, and I only snipped it. So how did something like understanding the human body field and just in a brief way, how did this help you get out of your bed?
Yeah, so I mean, I was probably already out of bed by the time I found bioenergetics, just with all
Okay.
the functional nutrition work that I had done prior. But I was
Right.
really propping up a broken system, is how I like to describe it today. I was pouring thousands of dollars of professional grade supplements on my health journey, and of course my clients as well at that time. And the moment you'd pull that support away, everything would come crumbling down. And to me, that wasn't really sustainable. I was like, I can't sustain $3,000 worth of supplements a month, for the rest of my
Sure.
life. Of course, that's not sustainable. So, what was I missing? And I was doing the best of functional medicine protocols. So I was like, there's a missing link here. It's not a protocol. It's not, what is it? And it was really, bioenergetics. That was the other half of it. I had so much built up energetic trauma and emotional things inside of my body field that were hindering my body's ability to utilize all the good supplements and all those lifestyle hacks and therapeutic protocols that I was doing. I didn't have the information on an energetic level to utilize all of those therapies. So of course they were just propping up that broken system. And then once I realized this and found NES and integrated both looking at the wave and the particle, so to speak, from a physics perspective, I rounded out the complete circle. I was only paying attention to half of the equation, about 50% with just the physical, or what they call the particle, and I was missing all of that energetic work as a functional nutrition practitioner. And yeah, once you bring it all together, it allowed sustainable growth. I mean, I even took I pretty much don't take any supplements except for a couple things like vitamin C, ascorbic acid, that we can't make ourselves as human beings anymore, but it's still a crucial thing. And I even cycled off of even the bioenergetic support for a couple months to see how I would do. And by all means, I did not come crashing down like I used to back in the day. So once you pay attention to both of those things, I find you can find some real sustainable growth and healing.
Well, I
That
love
is
the fact
so
that you mentioned about emotions, because that's the other part of the equation that it sounds like you touched into once you got into this quantum field work that you're doing.
For sure. Yeah, that was a major role in it. When we think about emotions and consciousness, that is a part of the human body field itself. Those are energetic things that are, vibrating inside of our fields, inside of the quantum computer that is the brain. So yes, all of those emotions are so tied into all of this. And that's really where the emotional immunity theory that NES has really comes into play, where we look at a concept from back in the day of divergent meridians. That was a traditional Chinese medicine concept, and inside of those divergent meridians, they were basically the healing pathways for the messages that would send the message to say, hey, we need to repair this tissue inside of the body. So all those areas, when Peter started to map them out, also matched to a variety of emotions. And that's really where he started to put together both the emotional parts of the human body field that he was putting together, and these healing messages for the self-repair of different parts of the body on an energetic level, and kind of marry the two of them together, because these emotional distortions will hinder your body's ability to provide the messages it needs to self-repair in different times. So there is that intrinsic link to being able to have a robust immunity and having a calm and centered consciousness and an emotional state, or what they call an emotional quotient. It's just like in IQ, an intelligent quotient, but an EQ. So we need to all build up our ability to handle our emotions and keep them in check, and that's our emotional quotient. And then that really does play a massive role in our immunity and our ability to have a coherent human body field.
So right now we're in times of global crisis. We all know that. And it's imperative. Everyone's been talking about keeping calm and sound mind as we, navigate what we've never seen before. And so talk to us about directly how this will feed right into to that, maybe in layman's terms, with our listeners.
Yeah, so with our system, of course, you would go to a practitioner who would run a scan on you and identify any of the areas of your human body fields that may be related to that emotional immunity portion, the mind-body sections, or what we call energetic terrains. And then they would provide you either some physical support via a pulsed electromagnetic field and TENS unit-like device that we call the MyHealth device, or we actually imprint this corrective information onto the structure of water, very more like a modern day version of homeopathy with corrective information instead of a hermetic stressor imprinted onto it. And you're actually able to consume these remedies or get this type of MyHealth treatment and provide your human body field with the information that it needs to optimize those different parts of it. That was the beauty of what Peter did over his years of research, was map out all those optimal states of the human body field. So when we see that you've deviated from that optimal state that we've tested you against, we can then, of course, provide that corrective information back to you in a couple of ways there. And of course, that will optimize your, emotional immunity during these times, which we all know, whether it's emotions or being able to not have emotions or any other things hinder our ability to provide appropriate, healing messages for the self-repair of tissue. That's going to be, crucial in times like this, especially when with what we're dealing with right now, many people are having complications because of their own immune system attacking them as it tries to fight off these different viral loads. It's not actually the virus that ends up damaging these people to a severe degree. It's actually their response to the virus that ends up doing it. So the more that we can provide the body field the correct information that it needs to respond appropriately to different situations, both on a physical level and emotional and spiritual level, all of those things are really crucial. So being able to provide that support, I would say, is paramount in times like this.
So it sounds amazing, so non-invasive, traditional, take this and you'll get that kind of response, which I love. I also love, I wanted to talk about intention because we're talking about information. And I do a lot of stuff with intention. And if a person knows, if they gain the awareness through a scan, and they're gaining that awareness of, hey, I might be experiencing this, it could be related to this. Is there something that takes place with this information through intention in the body that helps them?
Oh, for sure. So many things that, hindered me from a very young age were just things that I wasn't aware of. And the moment you become aware of some of these things, you start to use your intention, and that does play out into physical action over time if you hold that intention in that space. And even without the physical action itself, you are, combining. If you combine that thought with an emotion, you're actually combining both the electrical field with the magnetic field and actually imprinting your intention onto the unified field that all of reality comes from. So it's a very kind of Joe Dispenza way of looking at it. But you can use your intention to kind of call forth the reality that you want into existence. And it's a little bit more than the secret and those types of things where you just say it over and over again. You have to build emotion and actually become a new human being that is almost worthy in a sense of what you're trying to accomplish. So I would say intention is absolutely paramount. We do a variety of things inside of our studies to mitigate the intention of the person or the people that study these different products in their effectiveness. But really, I think our ability to manipulate our own physiology with our minds should be not something that we remove from our studies, but should actually be the main focus of it. How can we not only use these substances, or remedies or protocols or any modalities, but then also optimize optimize them to whatever degree is possible. We probably don't even know, because we haven't really taken a look at it by, having our intention going right along with all of those protocols that we do. So
yeah, that's fascinating, and thank you for sharing how that related back to your healing. And I know Patricia has a question too that she wanted to ask.
So Todd, thank you, Kimberly. This whole thing about emotional, actually health, I'm going to put it in this way, is a huge question in this day and age with what everyone's going through. So could you do me a favor and maybe give us a case study, either from your own or some of your practitioners that you work with, that would really show how the protocols that NES puts together work?